So if you know anything about us, you know that we are actively recruiting for our national real estate team called Stoli Network. This is a team that we are putting together to service the business that we generate with 1 week offer and to help people get to 35 transactions a year, utilizing a business that they own is controlled, predictable, and scalable. I do probably more recruiting calls than most people that you know. I have a lot of contacts with people that are looking to grow real estate agent businesses. I'm looking for growth directors. There's some admin positions that we're looking for. I'm looking to acquire a full-blown ad agency right now. So if you guys know anybody that's looking to sell their agency, I'd love to talk to them. Needs to be in the real estate space, obviously. So I have a lot of context over a whole bunch of different conversations that come across my desk every single day. And people, I would tell you that there is no centralized common reason why people do what they do or why they set goals for why they want to set. Some people are very material driven, which is great. Some people are very money driven, which is great. Some people are accolades and rewards and verbal accomplishment driven, which is totally good. Some people want consistency. Some people want a salary. Some people want no salary. Some people want to work completely autonomous. Some people love their hand held. Some people love to go like they're very communal, right? There's no wrong or right. There's no perfect or not perfect person. 10 years ago when we were growing, actually, it's 24, 14, yeah, even longer than that, maybe 15 years ago when we were growing our first real estate team. Feels weird to say 15 years ago. I thought that you had to be a DI, you had to make $150,000 a year, you need to be a master on the phone, probably skew a little younger because younger people are hungrier. And so we had this very rigid approach to bringing people onto the team. And for the most part, it was wildly successful. There was probably 30% of the time where I thought I could give you probably 5 examples right now of people that I'm thinking of that I hired that I just knew were going to be unbelievable rock stars. And they just weren't. They didn't perform. They didn't use the CRM. They weren't making the calls. They weren't converting. And I'd coach them and we'd talk with them and we'd do sales meetings. And what I found out is that I missed their primary core motivation as to why they were working with me. And I took my primary core motivation and I pushed it onto them. And listen, if you've ever been in a leadership role, or maybe you're in a leadership role right now, it's really easy for us to explain the vision and to get people to live into our vision, and people get super excited and jacked and they're talking about it. And they're like, yeah, I'm on it. I'm with it. Let's go, full steam ahead. And then it just kind of dies out the next couple of days. And then they have a whole bunch of questions and you're going back and forth and you're realizing like, they were really excited a couple of days ago, but now they're not really excited. And most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, it's because their primary need and why they want to work with you or for you is not being met. They're only excited about your goals. So that motivation fizzles off really quick. A couple things that I would look for in the recruiting process, and I haven't even gotten to the main point of the podcast yet, but we're going to get there soon. A couple of things that I would look for in the recruiting process. Number one, I would ask up front in the very first interview, hey, what are you motivated by? What do you want in the next year? What do you want in the 5 years? And what do you want overall? Like just what makes you totally excited to be alive? It may shock you that not everybody's going to say money, or not everybody's going to say a flexible work schedule, or not everybody's going to say freedom. A lot of people don't want freedom. They want consistency and they want predictability, right? So you need to find what drives them. That would be number one. And look, for a sales position, especially a higher paying sales position that has a lot of communication or a lot of commission opportunity in that, hiring somebody who's not money motivated or is not a hunter or doesn't have that, like, I was going to say killer instinct. I don't think you have to have a killer instinct, but somebody who is not who doesn't get excited about closing the deal, they're not going to work in that position, right? So they could be an amazing team player. They can be a perfect fit for the culture. You could jive with them really good, but at the end of the day, if they're not a hunter, they're not a hunter, right? You shouldn't hire them. Make sure you know where they're going. What do you want to do in the next 2 years? I'd be totally okay with a salesperson joining your team and leaving you in 2 years. As long as everybody who leaves you better than when they joined, you did your job. Now, I know you're thinking should we just expect turnover? No, but yes, right? Because turnover happens. Look, at a blink of an eye, you've probably been in this position too. In a blink of an eye, your life can change. I know there's been times, heck, even this year in 2024, there were multiple instances where I thought, hey, do we need to completely take this Noah's Ark and turn it right because something's going wrong, in personal life, or things aren't going the way that we thought they were going to go, or, family's dealing with this, or sports is going this way. At every income level, that happens. So somebody who's on your team making, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 a year at any week, at any time, things can change. So for you to build a team with one of your core values is like, oh, nobody leaves me and turnover's bad. And if they leave me, I must be a bad team. Listen, that's not how it goes. Turnover happens. It's very necessary. It's if they leave you better than when they joined you, you're doing your job. That would be the first thing. Figure out exactly what they want, how long they want to be with you, what does their perfect life look like, and be super honest with them. Can you deliver on that dream? I've had people come to me as a buyer's agent on a team back when we were in Phoenix and say, I want to make $500,000 a year. And I would say, okay, well, our average sales price is like $64,000. We're doing about 11 deals a month right now, and you're probably going to have access to 4 or 5 of those. I'm not sure how I get you to the $500,000 unless you want to just like completely prospect and sell like 30 homes a month. It's going to be tough in our market to do that. Whereas I think most leaders are like, oh yeah, you want to make a ton of money? Come on, join me. We'll do it together. But the reality is, and sometimes people's goals they're in the clouds, right? That happens. But at the end of the day, you need to be really clear. Hey, what do you want right now? What do you want this year? What do you want in the next 5 years? And what do you want overall? And most importantly, like what gets you so jacked every single day to perform that I can just help you pour gas on that. If you can solve that problem up front, turnover won't be nearly as an issue it is for most people. If you think about everybody on your team, the people that are performing and the people that are not, the people that are not terrible people. They're not terrible salespeople. It's just that maybe their carrot is not aligned with the actions you expect from the team. It's up to you as a leader to kind of fish that out. Let's talk about part number 2. If they're in a sales role or they're in a leadership role, the easiest way, and there are quite a few of you that are in the recruiting process right now with me that may be watching this. So I'm giving you the secret right now. So take notes. If you are in the recruiting process with somebody and they are in a leadership or a sales role, the easiest way that you can tell if they're going to win with you is how they close for their own position. I'll give that to you again. The easiest way that you can tell how good of a salesperson or a leader they're going to be is how they close for their own position with you. I've had people that I thought are going to be amazing on the team. They never asked for the job. And guess what? They don't ever get hired. We let the conversation. I'm thinking of somebody right now who I thought was going to be amazing. This person never asked for the job. Ever. Not once. Tons of questions, tons of meetings back and forth, super high energy, never really closed. And listen, when people aren't willing to close for themselves, they won't close for you. That's just how it is. If somebody's super excited for an opportunity, chances are that person is saying something like, hey, when can I come on? Can I come on? Can I start on Monday? When can I start? When can you get me the agreement? When can we get the paperwork? What do I have to do to join Real? How long is this going to take? When can I make my first call? When will I get leads? These are all common questions of people that are actually like legitimate salespeople. These are real questions that salespeople answer. Do you want to know the questions that non-salespeople ask and things that will not perform? Well, can you send it to me in writing? I need to think about it. Let me talk to somebody else. I don't know. I have a lot to think about. I have this other opportunity. They're very indecisive. And listen, being indecisive, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that these are bad people whatsoever, but when they're indecisive for the opportunity, they will probably be indecisive with your clients as well. So my suggestion to you, and you're probably thinking back to all your recruiting and all of your attracting appointments before and thinking like, oh, that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense. I had somebody once call me and say, hey, I elected to join you. This was a long time ago. And I just had this expectation that all these things were going to happen and none of them happened. Contractually, none of that was part of the deal. And I said, okay, well, how long has this been going on for? Well, I've been kind of feeling this way since I joined. Okay, well, it's been 7 months now and you haven't said a word. Like, don't you think we should have talked about this earlier? Well, I just kind of figured that because I did this, they had all these reasons around why they weren't the one to take action. And guess what? This specific person in their specific business was not making any money. So all they tend to do in good ways and bad ways, because I do this as well, is they project how they perform in the interview process. And I'll give that to you as well. They project how they perform in the interview process. Some of you guys are annoyed about the people who nag you about the next appointment. I've heard you say things like, oh my gosh, this guy emails me every day. Great. That's exactly who you want on the team, because you know if they're rigorously following up with you, they're probably going to rigorously follow up with the leads as well. If they're not following up at all for their own job, they're probably not going to follow up with the leads, or they're going to find a million different reasons as to why the leads aren't good quality enough because there's nothing to cherry pick, right? So rule number 1, make sure you understand exactly what motivates them. exactly what motivates them. Rule number 2, if they are in a leadership or interviewing for a leadership or a sales role within your organization, how they close for their job will be how they close for you. If they don't close at all and you bring them on the team, don't call me and say, I don't understand why my team's not performing, because most of the time they will show you who they are in the interview process. All right. I love you all. I hope you're all scaling. I think 2025 is going to be an amazing year. I know it's going to be an amazing year for us. And here's a shameless plug. We're growing Stoli Network to 500 agents by July 1st of next year. We're well on our way. If you're interested in partnering with us to get to 35 transactions plus and service the business that we generate on 1 week offer, then just go to stolinetwork.com, fill out the form there, and you can schedule a call with one of my growth directors and we'll help you crush it. All right. If you're not already on this email, end of the podcast, I tend to stutter a lot. If you're not already on the Real Estate Operator email, just go to realestateoperator.com/subscribe, join for free, and you will get access to one private podcast every single week that is not on Apple or Spotify. It is only for subscribers. I'll see you on the next one. Crush the rest of the year.